What's up everybody, AnimeX here, and in this video, I'll be adding another chapter into the What If I Was in Naruto series. This is due to you guys giving the first chapter of this amazing reception in the comments, with the like button, and even with the amount of people that showed up in the premiere, and showed the support and dedication that you had towards this video, and the concept. So, here we are with a new chapter, much earlier than I intended. Now, even though the video performed well and everything, keep in mind this is still a passion project and probably a what if that'll be most taxing for me to make, since I'll be making extremely long videos. I won't be giving myself strict time limits for putting these parts out, and that is just in part due to the length of these videos being pretty insane. Last one is about 30 minutes, and if it takes as long as I think it will, this one will be about 40 minutes. Anyways, as usual, I'll be recapping the last chapter of the story before jumping into the new material. So, without further ado, let's get started. Now, in the last part of this what if, it was basically sent due to it being the first chapter. I was just establishing the story, really talking about Kirai Kadoku, the new OC or the character that I'd be inserting as me into this story, into the world of Naruto, and really just trying to integrate and flesh out the characters. Introduced really the whole family that Kirai has. We introduced characters Yui, Nico, Kirai himself, his father Akio, and his mother, who hasn't been named yet, but it was briefly mentioned. Okay. So we basically just left off with Kirai going to the academy after a few life-altering events happened to him. He had a little bit of a near-death experience with one of his loved ones, and this really motivated him to move forward with his life as basically a protector for his family. And the last part we left off on was Naruto and Kirai actually meeting. So that's where we're going to jump back into the story. Now, like I said, we last left off with the original character, Kirai Kadoku, being approached by Naruto Uzumaki. When this happens, Kirai outstretches his hand and is helped up by the very friendly Naruto. After introducing himself as Kirai Kadoku, the two boys walk out of the academy grounds and start conversing. So, Naruto, I heard earlier that you wanted to become the Hokage. Is that a big dream of yours? Naruto's eyes light up when Kirai asks him this, being happy. Then, upon hearing this, Kirai is the first person to not laugh at his dream and simply ask about it. Yeah, Kirai, my dream is to become the Hokage. And even better, I'll become the strongest Hokage who's ever lived. That way everyone within this village will have to acknowledge me. Kirai looks wide-eyed and interested when he hears Naruto make such a large and seemingly impossible task and claim with such confidence with no hint of doubt or worry within his voice. That's a pretty amazing goal, Naruto. Do you really think you can do it? Naruto looks at Kira with his sky blue eyes full of curiosity and wonder. Well, of course I can. And I will. I said I would, wouldn't I? That's enough reason and motivation for me to reach the goal right there. Kira hesitantly nods when he hears this and continues walking. By the way, Naruto, where are we heading? Naruto snorts when he hears this. Well, we're only going to the best place in all of the village, Ichiraku's ramen shop. Ramen shop? Kira echoes Naruto's words almost silently, but says it once more, and instantly his stomach rumbles loudly enough for Naruto to hear it as well. Come on, Kira, I can tell you're hungry, so let's hurry up and get food to eat. Kira tries to politely, disagree, but Naruto then grabs Kirai's hand and drags him to the shop as quickly as possible. Upon arrival, Kirai and Naruto sit down. Kirai seems to be nervous, but Ichiraku Ramen approaches him. What will you two boys be having on this fight night? Ichiraku himself asks Naruto and Kirai what they would want to eat. I'll take my usual, Ichiraku, sir. Kirai's different colored eyes flicker up for a brief second as a whisper escapes from his lips. I'll, have what he's having. Ichiraku smiles and walks back into the kitchen where he starts working on the ramen. Kirai? Have you ever had ramen before? You seem a little overwhelmed when he asked you what you wanted. Kirai shakes his head. No, I'm fine, Naruto. It's just... the last time I had ramen was when my mom made it for me before... Kirai's voice trails off, and his eyes seem to lose even more color with that one sentence. Before what, Kirai? Kirai looks down and stares at the table, trying to keep any emotion from his face when he answers this. Well, just my mom just doesn't make as much food for me as she used to, you know. Just when Naruto is about to continue pushing the issue, Ichiraku arrives with 2 bowls of steaming ramen. Naruto smiles when seeing it, forgetting about the problems that, were in front of him, and instantly grabs chopsticks and starts digging into his ramen. Kirai, however, when seeing this, feels a certain way. As the smoke hits his nose and the warmth of the ramen steam touches his body, Kirai starts tearing up and crying. He tries to suppress these tears, but as he smells it and as he looks at it, it brings back painfully nostalgic memories that he can't help but cry from and be emotional. His mind drifts back to the day where his family was told of his father's death. The day his mother broke right in front of them, and the day that their life, his sisters included, was changed forever. It was only a day after his father had been deployed on a mission. No one within the family was worried whatsoever because it was often that Akio Kadoku, the father figure of the family, would either pull other ships for his fellow shinobi or just partake on a multi-day mission. This was a day that found itself much different from all those other ones, however. Even though everything was as normal as it usually was, Kirai and his 2 sisters had been eating the delicious ramen that their mother had made, and basically this had been a tradition for them. Whenever Akio went on long missions, their mother would just make ramen. This ramen had been a tradition for them, basically a testament to the faith that they had in their father. If we eat this ramen, he'll come back okay. That was the motto that the Kadoku family had, and that is what the ramen eating ritual meant to them. But that night was different. Someone knocked at the door. His mother opened the door, and Kirai only remembers seeing someone in a Chunin vest being in the doorway. His mother and the shinobi talked and conversed, and only a few seconds after talking, their mother started weeping and bawling her eyes out. She seemed to be aging decades in her face, and decades over seconds that he saw his mother turn around. She seemed to be aging at a rapid rate, her hair seemingly turning gray in that instant, and she was about to break the news to them. But something went wrong. His mother's usual deep blue eyes seemed to lose their color instantly, and his mother, his rock besides his father, and someone who was once a strong-willed Chunin of her own, then seemed to lose the will to live and fight, and her body, and she just lost all will to stand upright, and she collapsed in a catatonic state, which she has not been released from, even in 2 years. Kirai? Kirai? Kirai! Kirai hears his name being called that 3rd time and snaps awake from his daze, snaps awake from his flashback that he had. He looks down at the floor and realizes that while he was remembering that event, he had been bawling his eyes out. He quickly wipes his hand across his face and looks up at Naruto. I'm sorry, Naruto, but I have to go. Kira then gets up from the chair and rushes out of the shop into the Konoha night as he is running home. Don't focus on the past, focus on the future. Don't focus on the past. Kirai continues to roam home as tears fall behind him. With each stride, he tries to run away from the pain of not having his father or mother with him while he ate that ramen and as he was running home. As he does so, he turns a corner abruptly, being pretty close to his home. Then, out of nowhere, he sees something twinkle in the night and makes a beeline towards his face. Instantly, Kirai's senses sharpen, and he ducks underneath this attack and rolls to the side, not fully aware of what or who attacked him. What was that? Kirai then sees a glint of a metal blade in the night and dodges once more, this time leaping above the attack. He feels his broken arm twitch, and he winces in pain, dropping to his knees from the pain in his arm. Immediately after this, he is kicked in the face and dropped onto his back. Who are you? Through Kirai's gasps in pain, he asks who this person is. The attacker then reveals themselves walking to a more lit area of the street. Kirai's eyes widen when he sees this person. Even though he doesn't have a name for the face, he does recognize them. You are the one who threatened my sister, right? Kirai struggles to his feet as his eyes start glowing more intensely. Kirai then charges at this person, knowing what his strategy of attack will be, and as Kirai closes the distance between them, the teenager who had hurt Yui, had hurt his oldest sister, swings his kunai blade at Kirai. Kirai ducks underneath this attack, crouching into a low position, before instantly springing up into an uppercut that would make even Ryu jealous. As he connects with his jaw, Kirai then sends him flying into the air, and grabs the kid by his ankle, before slamming his body into the concrete. Kira then walks over to the kid that he just beat up and checks for his breathing and pulse, making sure that he didn't accidentally kill him, and he struggles to his feet. I would be sorry for what I'm about to do, but you're a scumbag, so it's alright. Kira then reaches into the pockets of this kid and comes up with 500 yen. It's not much, but this will be good enough for now. Kira then limps to his house and stares at the door. Just before he enters, Kirai knows what he's about to do and knows what he's about to do will be painful, but he can't let his sister see him in this way. His arm is bent at a weird angle, so he knows what he'll have to do. He then grabs his arm in the place where it's messed up and sends chakra into the opposing arm. He quickly pushes the bone in line with the rest of his arm so that it won't be, or at least his sisters won't be able to tell that his arm is broken. After holding back a super loud scream and wiping away a few tears, Kira enters his home and closes the door behind him. Kira considers shouting to tell the sisters about the money, but he guesses that at this time at night they are probably asleep. He then walks and puts the yen on the table, which will take over to keep their mom on life support. But as for right now, it's been a long day for Kirai, and he passes out on the couch, not even able to get up the stairs. The next morning, Kirai wakes up sore and hungry, just like usual, and he hops off the couch. He quickly goes to brush his teeth and take a very short, brief shower. After this, he gets dressed in his usual rags, grabs 500 yen, and rushes out the door. As he rushes towards the hospital with the 500 yen, he replays the events of last night and is stricken with guilt when he remembers how he just left Naruto at the ramen shop by himself. That's no way to treat a friend. I'll make sure I truly apologize when I get back to the academy, but as for right now, I have to go pay off this hospital bill. Kira then nods, confirming this within his head. He then arrives at the hospital and heads inside. Now, even at the age of 6, Kira Kadoku is unfortunately very familiar with the hospital setting. He visits at least once every week to attempt to pay off the massive ocean of medical bills and debt that he and his sister have been racking up, trying to treat their mom in the hospital and keep her in healthy conditions. The stench of the sick and dying people hits Kirai's nose, but with him coming here so often, at least every week, he now just accepts this rather than being repulsed by it. It's a tragedy, but a tragedy that he accepts nonetheless. As he is walking to his mom's room, he hears a female voice from behind him. "How are you doing today, Kirai?" A woman speaks up from over the counter as she checks him in. "Going to visit your mother once more, I presume?" Kirai nods. "Yes, ma'am. Is she in the same room as usual?" The nurse nods, and Kirai walks over to the hospital room where his mother has resided for the past 2 years, ever since he was 4. He then grabs a doorknob, and before entering, pauses. His heart starts picking up the pace, and his heart rate, starts picking up, and Kirai takes in a deep breath like he always does. He then steals his nerves and twists the doorknob and heads inside, closing the door behind him. Now, as he closes the door, many different senses and feelings hit Kirai Kadoku all at once. The first thing that truly hits him is the sound of machines beeping and squeaking within the room. These noises assault Kirai's ears, as there are so many machines surrounding his beloved mother that he can barely hear her breath or hear his own thoughts. The stale air is hard for Kirai Kadoku to breathe in, and his body gets goosebumps from the chilled air that keeps his mother in a catatonic state but keeps her, alive and well. He continues into the room, however, and walks over to his mother. He pushes past the machines and grabs his mother's hand and sits down. As he holds his mom's hand, he feels tears well up in his eyes. "Mom, I know that you can't hear me, and I know that you can't respond to me, but all of us, we miss you so much back at home, Mom." Tears fall from his face on his hand, and tears start streaming down his face, this time much faster. He looks at his mother's once beautiful, blonde, and flowing hair, can now only see her hair that has been ravaged by her mental instability and just been ravaged by time. Her once blonde hair is now white. Her once beautiful and bouncy hair is now rigid and lacking any substance. Her once long, flowing hair has been cut short in order to keep it maintainable. "Mom, it seems just like yesterday that you were making ramen for me, Nico, and Yui would rush and eat mine." Tears continue to fall down his face as he starts choking up and not being able to talk. Mom, I made a friend yesterday. His name is Naruto Uzumaki. He's going to be Hokage someday. Can you believe it? I'm friends with the future Hokage. Pretty cool, right? Kirai squeezes his mother's hand a bit, almost trying to wake her up, but he knows better. Years of disappointment and sadness have told him and warned him what happens when he gets his hopes up. Mom, I'm doing what Dad wanted, you know? I'm doing my best to protect Yui and Nico. They are doing well. Yui looks a lot like you did a couple years ago, and Nico... Well, Nico is still the same person as she was all that time ago. Kirai chuckles to himself when he says this and starts to wipe tears from his eyes. Well, Mom, I don't want to take up too much of your time, so that's all I have to say for now. I'll leave the 500 yen for the doctor to take here, so make sure that no one takes it, okay? Kirai then chuckles at his own dark humor and places the money on the table next to his mother and stands up. Kirai then takes one last glance at his mother. Mom, I love you so much. Kirai then kisses his mother on the forehead and walks out of the hospital. He then looks up and sees that the sun is starting to rise pretty high, meaning that he might be late for school. Oh shoot, I spent too long in there, now I have to get to the academy. Kirai then wipes the tears from his face and picks up the pace as he charges through the streets of Konoha at breakneck speed, dodging children, parents, and all kinds of pedestrians while trying to arrive to the academy on time. And, to Kirai's surprise, he just barely gets to the academy in time. Kirai is panting once he arrives, but he finally heads inside of the academy itself and finds a seat next to Naruto, who, for some reason, no one wants to sit next to. Before class officially starts, however, Kirai gets up out of his chair and bows in front of Naruto. I'm sorry, Naruto, for leaving you at the ramen shop all alone after my emotional outburst. You're a good friend, and you deserve better than that. Naruto then blushes and looks around, seeing that everyone in the class is staring at Naruto and Kirai. Kirai, can you tone it down a bit? No need to be so uptight. Kirai's face then turns red as he stands back up, straight and much more casual. Sorry, Naruto. Can you forgive me? Kirai then outstretches his hand in a friendly gesture, then Naruto stands up. No. Kirai's happy smile then transforms into a grim pout very quickly as he starts retracting his hand. Oh. I see. I understand. What I did was unforgivable, and for you to forgive me is... Naruto then laughs. Nah, I'm just kidding, Kirai. Naruto then pulls him in for a hug. Of course I forgive you. I wouldn't be a good friend if I didn't, right? After both of them get embarrassed from this, the two then sit down and continue to talk until Aruka appears in front of the class and, decides to start teaching. Alright, today class, we'll be going over the technique of throwing kunai and shuriken. Aruka then goes on to continue teaching the class. Meanwhile, Naruto, who was bored about this type of stuff and doesn't really find any interest in it, starts whispering over to Kirai. Psst, when do you think we'll actually be able to throw the shuriken and stuff? Kirai shrugs. I don't really know, Naruto, but if you don't know how to do it yet, you should probably just pay attention to what Aruka's saying. As Kirai says this, Aruka then turns back and hears the whispers. Kirai Kadoku! Since you want to talk during the first lesson of this class and waste everyone's time, why don't you tell us what you and Naruto were talking about? Kirai, not really seeing through this ploy, is about to just say verbatim what he said to Naruto, but then pauses, realizing that saying that could not only get him in trouble, but it could get Naruto in trouble as well. So he decides to change his wording to what he was thinking in his head. Well, Aruka-sensei, with all due respect, I was just saying that I think this lesson is pretty boring, and I think teaching us hands-on would be a bit better. We're not trying to learn how to teach people how to throw kunai, we're trying to learn how to throw kunai. Aruka's veins start protruding when Kirai says this, and he throws the chalk on the floor in frustration. Fine. How about this? Since you want to speak to the entertainment of this lesson, let's see if you can hit a target with the shuriken, shall we? Kirai nods and gets up from his chair as he heads outside. The rest of the class, seeing this as an interesting endeavor, head outside as well. As Kirai walks outside, Aruka continues to explain. So, Mr. Kadoku, if you were able to hit the target, I will let your entertainment comment pass, and we'll go back inside without any problem. But if you miss the target, like you will, then today will just be physical conditioning for everyone. Do you understand? Kirai nods. Sir, that's fine. I'm fine with hitting the bullseye, or fine with hitting the target, but what happens if I get a bullseye? What happens if I hit it dead on? Aruka's confident smile grows larger when Kirai says this. There is no way a genin with no formal training could get a bullseye. But what if I do? Aruka sighs. What do you want if you hit a bullseye? Kirai smiles. If I hit a bullseye, you have to buy me food for a week. No, a month. Haruka just sighs. Fine. If you hit a bullseye, I'll buy you food for a month. Kirai nods. After hearing this, and he holds out his hand for the kunai and shuriken. Aruka quickly hands them over to Kirai, and Kirai looks at his target. Then, as he, spins the kunai around and holds the shuriken, testing its weight for a bit, he then, faster than anyone but Sasuke and Aruka can see, flicks his hand out at high speeds, releasing the kunai with one hand and the shuriken in the other, as they both fly straight and true towards the bullseye, embedding themselves within the target. Aruka's jaw hangs open as he looks at the two projectiles embedded within the target. Kirai turns to him. So, are you going to buy me the food for the month now or over time? Aruka then somewhat blushes and gets a little upset about this attitude. Kirai, I'll buy you your food after school, but for the time being, you and Sasuke can stay out here and practice. Kirai and Sasuke both start complaining to Aruka about not wanting to be outside together, or at least wanting to be outside with the rest of the class. Aruka, sir, can Naruto stay out here with me instead of Sasuke? I don't really care to hang out with him. Aruka laughs at this, thinking it is a joke, but upon seeing that it's serious, explains why. No, Kirai, you and Sasuke are both at the top of your class in terms of talent and skill, while Naruto is near, if not completely, at the bottom. So, you and Sasuke are the only ones eligible to even be wielding these weapons from such an early stage in your training. Be glad that I'm allowing you to do this and not be listening to such a boring lesson. Aruka then rounds up the rest of the children and takes them back inside while Sasuke and Kirai stare awkwardly at the kunai and shuriken that lie between them. Kirai makes the first move, grabbing another kunai and spinning it around a bit effortlessly before throwing it once more and hitting the bullseye. As Kirai mindlessly tosses the kunai and shuriken, Sasuke decides to speak up. Your name is Kirai Kadoku, right? Kirai turns around, still spinning the kunai. Yeah, that's my name. What of it? Sasuke looks down for a second before steeling his nerves and looking back up at him. So that means you hail from the Kadoku clan? Kirai snorts when he hears that an Uchiha clan member, or he just hears that an Uchiha clan member is sounding rather jealous of another clan without a Keki Genkai. Yeah, I do come from the Kadoku clan, but my mom used to say that my clan doesn't originate from the Leaf Village, which is why my family is probably the only group from my clan that you'll find here. Sasuke nods hesitantly. Yeah, my father told me about your clan. Sasuke tries to speak up, thinking about what he wants to ask, but even for the gifted and usually level-headed Sasuke Uchiha, talking to Kirai when he stares at him with a different colored, intense-looking glare is discomforting, to say the least. Kirai, by any chance, was your father a Jonin named Akio Kadoku? Now, when Kirai hears this question, he stops spinning the kunai, and his stare becomes much more intense. As this happened, Sasuke feels his hair standing on end, and his body is screaming at him to run. It's screaming at him to be on guard, at bare minimum, if he doesn't run away blatantly. Why do I feel under such pressure? Sasuke's head breaks out into a sweaty mess as he looks at Kirai's stern face and his glowing eyes. How do you know about my father? When asked this question, Sasuke's mind seems to be breaking down as he starts stuttering, trying to get his thoughts back together. Your father, Akio Kadoku, was a legend within the village. He was hailed as someone who could even rival the Seinen, so I just thought that is why you're so skilled. My dad told me about your clan and your dad, so So that's why that's the only reason I brought it up. As Sasuke explains himself, Kirai's intense gaze then shifts to someone behind him for a second. Sasuke himself then turns to see his father, Wicked Eye Fugaku, behind him with his hand on his son's shoulder. Come on, Sasuke. We're gonna head home early. I'd like to show you something. Fugaku then stares at Kirai Kadoku for a second and steers his son away from the conversation, walking him out of the academy. But before he does so, he turns back and looks at Kirai. Your father was a worthy shinobi. Maybe a little too strong for his own good. Then, in the blink of an eye, Fugaku and Sasuke Uchiha disappear. Now, Kirai sits out there for a few more minutes, about 30 minutes, just throwing her kunai and thinking about what had just happened or what had just transpired between Sasuke and his quote-unquote father. Now, Kirai isn't superstitious, but he is sure, almost 100% sure, that he had just saw Wicked Eye Fugaku, which even he knows of due to the legends. He is pretty sure that he saw Wicked Eye Fugaku flash the legendary Uchiha Keki Genkai Sharingan at him for a second. Although, it's possible, and he starts rationalizing the fact that he may have just imagined it. While he's thinking about this, the bell indicating the end of the school day is set off, and Naruto is the first one out of the doors. Kirai is about to wave at his friend, but Naruto races towards him at top speed with Haruka right behind him. Run, Kirai, run! Kirai's eyebrows furrow, and then without him even noticing, Naruto grabs him by his hood and rushes off with him out of the academy and away from Haruka. They turn a few corners together, and after a minute or two of running, Naruto stops with Kirai in tow and falls to one knee, heavily breathing. That was close, Kirai. He almost gave me detention. Kirai laughs pretty loudly when he hears this. Already, Naruto? There's no way you could be that much of a troublemaker, right? It's only the first day. Naruto has a goofy smile grow on his face in response to this as he chuckles slightly. When I become Hokage, Haruka-sensei will forgive me. At least, I hope. Naruto's smile then fades as the two friends leap onto a roof. As they're sitting on there and as they're residing on the roof, Naruto swings his feet as he builds up the courage to ask Kirai a pretty serious question that, for all he knows, could set him off emotionally. But he decides that they're friends, so he deserves to know. So, Kirai, I already forgave you for what happened yesterday, but if you don't mind me asking, why did the ramen get you so sad? Kirai stares off into the darkening sky and just scoffs to himself. The ramen was something my mom used to make when my dad would go on missions. Now my dad is dead, and my mom is in the hospital. They say it's grief that put her in that state, but yesterday, seeing and smelling that ramen reminded me of those times. Sorry if it just made me sad. I just can't help but be emotional whenever I think about my parents. I'm sorry. Naruto continues to swing his legs while Kirai explains. No parents, huh? Kirai snaps himself out of his daze and asks, enough about me, Naruto. I haven't even had the decency to ask about you. How are you with your family? Are they both shinobi, or... Naruto's feet stop swinging and he looks down. I don't have any parents. They died when I was born, and I've never really lived with anybody. Kirai's eyes widen when he hears this. I'm so sorry, Naruto. I didn't mean to offend you, but what about friends? Did your parents or your friends' parents ever take you in? Naruto smiles when hearing this question, although it does seem to be a forced smile that he doesn't genuinely have. If I'm being 100% honest, you were the first and only friend I've ever had. Kirai feels his heart expand infinitely when Naruto says this, and a tear of happiness falls from Kirai's face when Naruto says this. Naruto then punches Kirai in the arm. Don't get all sappy on me. No need to get all sappy. And the two just laugh and hang out with each other for a few more hours, just talking and conversing until it's deep into the nighttime. The moon is now fully into the air, and the night is now completely chilled. After this, and after really realizing that it's time for them to go home, Naruto and Kirai then split up, heading back to their respective homes. While on the way to his home, Kirai is thinking about his interactions with Naruto and comes to a decision. It's more of an internal pact, but it's something that he decides on nonetheless. Dad, if you're out there, if you're watching, or if you can hear me, I just want to say, I think I found another person I want to protect just like my sisters and mom. That person is Naruto Uzumaki. Kirai then nods, hoping that his father heard this decree to him. And as Kirai walks home, he opens the door and sees a terrible sight. And that, everybody, is where I'm going to end Chapter 2 to the What If Anime X, or me, was in Naruto. If you guys are enjoying so far, and if you guys just want this series to continue at a not snail's pace, then, just show your support through the comment section, through the like button, do what y'all do. Support, just do your thing. I trust that you guys, if you guys enjoy, you'll know what to do, right? Hit the like button, comment your thoughts on it down below. Just do all that good stuff. Like I previously said in the intro, since these videos will take super long, I don't plan on probably putting these chapters out like daily or even close to daily. They'll probably become more of a weekly occurrence, regardless of the support. Like, just because how long they take or just how much time I plan, like I want to spend planning and just getting the story in order, I just want to take my time with it. Make sure that this is one of, if not the best series that I'm able to put out for you guys. So, there's always that. As for the cliffhanger that I left you guys on, yeah, have fun having that in your head for about a week. But, just hope you guys enjoy. Hope you guys enjoyed the video in general. If you are new to the channel and haven't already done so, consider subscribing and hitting the bell so you don't miss out on more Naruto What If content. As usual, links to my social media and all that good stuff will be down below. And as always, guys, this is Anime X. Hoping that you all enjoyed the video. Signing off.